Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. We have an amazing show for everybody today. What do we have, Krystal?
Indeed, we do. I just don't know what we're going to talk about this morning. There's barely anything in the news.
There's been a lot of developments in the cable news world.
All right, so yesterday, Bloody Monday, Tucker Carlson out, Don Lemon out. There's huge political news this morning as President Joe Biden officially announced his reelect. We have a launch video that we can show you and some details about exactly how the Democratic base is actually feeling about him right now, which is pretty interesting. We have developments with regard to the debt ceiling. We have developments with regard to the fact that Tony Blinken was ultimately behind that letter of the hallmarks of Russian disinformation thing about Hunter Biden's laptop. We've got Kyle Kondik in the show to break down all the political news. We also have a gigantic elephant in the room that I think we need to address, which is what the hell is Saagar wearing?
What is going on here? Look, I made a pledge to our premium subscribers to commit this sartorial atrocity in the event that Don Lemon was fired. I didn't even remember, actually, one of our premium subscribers reminded. We went back and we pulled the clip. Here's what I had to say at the time. Would the Breaking Points and Counterpoints team ever wear a hoodie and suit jackets on the air next time there's a Don Lemon segment? It would be a nice gag, don't you think? You know, that might be the only time that I would deign to wear a hoodie with a suit jacket. I will consider it. I'll tell you this. When he gets fired, if that ever happens, I doubt it ever will, I will wear a hoodie on a suit jacket, with a hoodie with a suit jacket. As an homage to Don Lemon.
I like it.
Yeah, so there you go.
Never.
Here's your homage.
Imagined that it would come
that was
quickly.
like last week, apparently.
That was last week, and we had both already forgotten about it.
I totally forgot. We were reminded. So listen, I'm a man of my word. Here it is. Here are a couple of problems with wearing a hoodie with a suit jacket that you wouldn't think about. First of all, Don Lemon, why do you have a suit jacket which is not tailored properly? That actually violates. As people can see, this is fitting quite tightly. This is the thinnest hoodie that I own. Shout out to Viore. I wear this to the gym.
It's a nice hoodie.
Thank you.
It's a nice jacket.
It's a very nice hoodie.
Put them together and it looks horrendous.
Yeah, it should be worn at the gym, not, with a suit. Now, the issue is that there's a lot of cloth in a normal-sized hoodie, so normal suit jacket. This is actually a suit jacket from probably when I was at my fattest, and even then, it barely fits over the same. I'm not even wearing a T-shirt underneath this.
Here's the thing, too.
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't watch a lot of Don Lemon, but I feel like his suit jackets normally fit him well.
That was my
are
other
tailored
point.
well.
So now we're in a question of,
a special suit jacket to go over hoodies?
So I did deep analysis on the jacket. It does appear to fit with the hoodie, which means he actually got that jacket tailored specifically so that he could wear a hoodie underneath it. It also was a separate worn on top of khakis, which is a whole other level of crime, because we're talking about a pinstripe window, I think it was a window pane black jacket on top of a gray hoodie with khakis. It was a complete travesty. I feel like a bum wearing this. It's not comfortable. I miss my tie. I miss my shirt. It doesn't feel right. But look, this is what I do for you people, and I'm gonna do the whole show and look like an idiot. So, farewell, Don. I'll have a lot more to say about that in
It's
the
worth it. It's worth it to see him go.
Absolutely.
Let's just say that.
Yeah, you shall be missed, I guess.
There is a lot more to get to in the show. Before we do, though, we want to say thank you to all the people who have been signing up for premium subscriptions. You are really, really helping us out in terms of being able to build out this new set that we're super excited about.
You guys are incredible, as usual. So many of you have been heeding the call. For those of you who can, again, you're helping us. We've got about half the lights paid for now, half the lights that we've gotten there so far. So seriously, we appreciate it. As a reminder, we have a donation button there on the website. But in general, if you sign up, yearly and lifetime members especially, for a cash flow perspective, it dramatically helps our business. Maybe I can go and buy a properly fitting suit then. The point is, every single of your hard-earned dollars is being poured directly back into production value here on the set. The new set is beautiful. It is a 10, 15x step up for all of us. And I think for 2024, it's exactly the note that we want to kick things off. And just look at the way what we're about to cover versus what we're doing here. We don't have declining ratings. Yesterday was one of our biggest days literally ever. It was actually the biggest day ever in the history of our podcast downloads.
Oh, wow.
And so you put those together. Our ratings continue to go up. Our premium subscription is booming. We're hiring people when they are literally firing people. They are declining and falling apart. We have a lot more to say about this, but let's go ahead and get to the news. We got the official announcement yesterday. It is over. Tucker Carlson, as we reacted to all of you, fired fired from Fox News. We can now say fired definitively after some speculation, Krystal, in our initial reaction to video. Let's go ahead and put this up there on the screen from the LA Times. Quote, Tucker Carlson departs Fox News. He was pushed out by Rupert Murdoch. So I've also asked around from what I have heard, people who are not necessarily in the know. This was very, very tightly kept, but the Murdochs have been basically leaking and making it known that they were the ones who were in charge. And the impetus for firing Tucker is multifaceted. Really, it does read like a Succession level drama.
Yeah.
Number one is the Murdochs right now are terrified, even though they have billions of dollars literally in the bank. Paying out $787 million is humiliating over the Dominion lawsuit. Now, Tucker was not implicated in the Dominion lawsuit at all. However, one of the problems is that his text messages, which we were able to see some of them with respect to Trump, to Sidney Powell, and Dominion, that was basically the tip of the iceberg. It turns out that many of those texts, Krystal, also denigrated Fox News management, Rupert Murdoch, many of his colleagues, and while we have not been able to read those text messages, his boss's lawyers were able to read those text messages and made them available to him.
His texts were the most embarrassing, I think it's fair to say, of the texts that were released publicly, and apparently, according to reporting, some of the ones that were redacted that the public did not have access to, in terms of his internal positioning at Fox, were even more damning. But I think it was a sort of cumulative effect of, you know, here's a guy who's sort of like embroiled in scandal after scandal, week after week. He's the center of controversy. He's sending out these text messages that are, you know, that are degrading his colleagues, going after management, going after Fox.
That's funny. Look, listen, who doesn't hate their boss? Like, come on.
Sure,
right?
But then you also have, you know, him saying things like, I hate Trump, and Trump is a demonic force.
Sure.
And then you also had, you know, potential other legal issues going on. In particular, a former producer on his show who was suing Fox News and names Tucker Carlson and his executive producer specifically in a discrimination case. And that may have been another piece of this. And with regard to the Dominion lawsuit, I mean, he was implicated in that it was expected that if it had gone to trial, he was going to have to testify. So when you put all these pieces together, and you've got a man in Rupert Murdoch who's, you know, still the head honcho, 92 years old, it just became too many things for him to have to deal with. It reminded me a little bit of Keith Olbermann when he was ousted at MSNBC. I mean, Keith Olbermann, like, was MSNBC at that point.
Right.
But he just became too much of a problem for them to have to deal with on a daily basis. And so they made the determination, and I think Fox News has made the determination, not just here with Tucker Carlson, but also with Glenn Beck, also with Bill O'Reilly, also with Megyn Kelly, that the brand and the network is bigger and has to be bigger than any one individual talent. So even Tucker, who is not only the #1 rated show on Fox News, but was the #1 rated cable news show, period, even he, they are asserting here, is not bigger than the Fox News brand.
Yeah, well, I will save some of my commentary about why I think that's completely wrong today in today's age. It might have been true in the past, but a lot has changed in the cable news business. In terms of the circumstances, though, I think it's very important to say that the text messages going after Fox News management apparently rankled Fox News management, I guess. Who knew? Secondly, it comes to that lawsuit that you referenced. Let's go and put this up there on the screen. One of the other things that wasn't noticed is that his executive producer, Justin Wells, was actually also fired from Fox News. That gives us a little bit of insight into how this could be at least connected some way to the Abby Grossberg suit. That's what you referenced. For those who don't know, Grossberg was a booking producer who actually worked on Carlson's show. She has filed a lawsuit against the company last month, related in somewhat to the Dominion case because she says that she had compelled false testimony on Dominion, but also claiming that she and other women face sexism and harassment from coworkers and officials. According to Grossberg and her lawyers, she had recordings of phone calls and of internal workplace culture that possibly could have implicated them. But again, from what I heard, this is a multifaceted situation. It comes 1 week after Dominion. Obviously, they're running scared. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
2, now they've got this lawsuit. On its face, the lawsuit, he would have survived it from what I could have seen. It may not have been a good look, and he certainly, I mean, he admitted to using, quote, the C word in some of his testimony, which, I mean, whatever. If you use it privately in a text messages, fine. Let's put that aside. On the actual, like, content, though, from what I understand, and also what the LA Times has been able to report, this also happened because of a showdown over January 6th coverage, specifically coverage related to Ray Epps. Now, for those who don't know, we've discussed Mr. Epps here before. He's the guy who is on tape going all over the Capitol complex the night before and the morning of, before the storming of the Capitol, saying we need to go into the Capitol. There has been reports and suspicions that Mr. Epps was allegedly an informant for the Federal Bureau of Investigation. He has since avoided jail time, despite being seen very clearly instigate or trying to get people to go into the Capitol, and was even, quote, called a Fed by his fellow rally attendees. He was clearly a center of a Tucker Carlson documentary, and also recently appeared in a 60 Minutes special, specifically where he actually went after Tucker Carlson and claimed that he had ruined his life. Now, apparently, there was, I guess we can surmise there was some sort of response in the works for Monday on the show that evening to discuss the Ray Epps situation, and this appears to be a red line for Rupert Murdoch, who apparently has been super pissed off. I also had somebody flag to me something very important. Recall, Krystal, all of those hours of footage that were made available to Tucker by Kevin McCarthy?
Yeah.
How much of that footage did we actually see?
Right.
Yeah.
Very little.
Why is that? Even though, even on his show, he said that we were going to see hours and hours of the footage and we were going to do more. And we had one segment, which happened to show the QAnon shaman just walking around the Capitol.
Yeah.
Now, we were promised hours. Who wants to make the guess? Was it Tucker who made the call not to show anybody more? Or maybe was it somebody with an Australian accent who owns the company? And so, anyway, there has been, allegedly, by the way, according to my sources. So, just to save myself from the Murdochs and their lawyers, the point being, there has been long-standing, simmering tension.
Yeah.
And also, it appears that Murdoch himself, Rupert Murdoch, is just got to be one of the most capricious, strange CEOs who has ever ran a media company, because he apparently never cared about the boycotts on the advertising. Again, this is a man worth tens of billions of dollars. Never cared about the boycotts. Allegedly, his son Lachlan was very aligned with Tucker Carlson in terms of his views. Now they are trying to leak and make clear that Lachlan is apparently the one who made the call to fire him, but those who are in the know say it was Rupert himself who just basically wanted to wash his hands of the situation. All of it based, again, on the premise that you alluded to, Krystal, with the idea that Tucker Carlson is not bigger than Fox News. Also, this comes back to the question of Tucker's future, because he could currently be embroiled in a major contract litigation. Let's go and put this up there on the screen. Yashar Ali, media reporter here, talking, saying Tucker will likely get paid out on his deal. This has now since been confirmed by the Wall Street Journal. Even when Fox feels that it has the cost to fire, it often pays out on deals in order to avoid litigation. He signed a multi-year extension on his deal in 2021 and likely has anywhere from 1 to 3 years left on his deal. Now, the reason why this matters is that because Fox, we don't know about Tucker's contract specifically, obviously, but Fox, as a matter of course, has had non-competes in its talent deals for many years. If he had signed any sort of non-compete and they continue to pay him out on his deal, then technically they might be able to try and silence him for several, or at least 1 to 3 years, the period of his contract, and possibly even after the extension. One of the other reports that's come out since is that he has gone ahead and hired kind of like an aggressive media lawyer, apparently the same one that Don Lemon hired to negotiate his exit. But this very much could be part of the contention around his future, and we may not be able to hear from him for some time, because we're literally tens of millions, hundreds of millions possibly, of dollars at stake in terms of contract negotiations.
Well, certainly in terms of while this is all being resolved, he will not be on air, with Fox, obviously, but anywhere else, very likely. And so we'll see how this is ultimately resolved. The non-competes are very common in the media industry, not just at Fox News, but at every other cable news network as well. Even though he makes a lot of money there, or made a lot of money while he was at Fox News, think about how little that is in the grand scheme of like the $4 billion that they have sitting in the bank.
Yes, you're right. Good point.
So again, I think they probably just looked at this as like cost of doing business. On the Ray Epps, like January 6th stuff, apparently this has been, according to some of the reporting, this has been a source of friction between him and Murdoch for a while. And Tucker, of course, has, as he does, like taken something that has a grain of some interest in it, things we have covered here, like the potential, involvement. Now we know the definite involvement of feds who were in Proud Boys informants and Oath Keepers and all of these different organizations were infiltrated by feds. He takes takes that and spins it into a whole grand conspiracy and goes way further than what any of the evidence suggests. And even the fixation on Ray Epps, Branko Marcetic made this comment, which is like, I don't know why the fixation on him when we literally know there were dozens of Fed informants inside of the Proud Boys.
I think it's the video element, Krystal. It's the video montage.
But again, there's, maybe, but there's no evidence that actually proves that Ray Epps is a Fed, and Tucker goes way too far in asserting some of these things. So just on the merits, I wanted to put that out there. In terms of, is he bigger than Fox News? I think it sort of makes sense that Fox News doesn't really need Tucker Carlson. They do have a very committed sort of default audience that shows up for them regardless of who's sitting in the chair. Now, will whoever they fill in for Tucker, Jesse Waters has been floated as one potential replacement. Will they be able to garner the ratings that Tucker was able to garner? Probably not, at least not immediately.
Yes.
But then again, no one thought that anyone would be able to match Bill O'Reilly's ratings when he was pushed down. And I don't know that Tucker matched him, but he came pretty darn close. So their audience is elderly. They're set in their habits. In much of the country, Fox News is just like the default program that's on, sort of like CNN is on at the airports. Fox News is just on in businesses and homes across the country. So I think they're right in a sense that they don't need Tucker Carlson. Their business is going to be okay. And that whatever issues he was causing internally and the fact that he was embroiled in these controversies one after another, and he basically just became a real pain in the ass for Rupert Murdoch and management, I think that makes sense. But I also think it makes sense that Tucker doesn't need Fox News either.
Correct.
And so, whenever he's able to do whatever he wants to do next, there's no doubt that he's going to find an audience, find success. Now, will it be as prominent and as influential as his position at Fox News? I would say probably not, because legacy media still obsesses over what happens on cable news.
Yes.
You're not going to be involved in those big nights of presidential debate coverage. You're not going to be, playing in the background at the McDonald's in flyover country. And so there's a lessening of your cultural cachet, even as I think that he will, undoubtedly find an audience and be successful whenever he turns up to do whatever he wants to do next. Hey guys, ready or not, 2024 is fully upon us now, and Saagar and I have been brainstorming ways that we can really up our game for this critical election.
Yeah, we rely on our premium subs to expand our coverage, to add staff, to upgrade the studio. We just want to give you the best independent coverage of this election, which is possible. So if you can help us out, become a premium subscriber today, breakingpoints.com, or the link is down here in the description video. It really means the world to us, and if you like what we're all about, this is the best possible way to keep us 100% independent, working only for you.